Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Brew with Memli. I'm Mehmet from Memli Coffee Lab, and winter is coming, so today we are launching our new winter coffee. As usual, I'm going to introduce you to the farm, then how I roasted this coffee, and last but not least, how we brew it. This coffee comes from Los Pirineos in El Salvador, and it's produced by Diego Baraona, which is the fifth generation of coffee farmers who learned everything from his late father and is producing one of the best coffees in El Salvador. It's our second time sourcing coffee from them. The first was a black honey pacamara earlier this year. So what's amazing about Los Pirineos is that it's located on the slope of a volcano, and it has also the drying stage located in between some hills, which allow this cool breeze, venturi effect air that affects positively the drying aspect of the coffee production. The variety here is a Sudan Rume, which is an African Ethiopian landrace variety. And the process chosen is a washed carbonic maceration. So what they did is once they harvested the cherries, they put it in an aluminum barrel for 72 hours. And then they pulp the coffee, so they remove the skin, washed it, and then put it back into the aluminum barrel, but this time flushed with carbon dioxide, which is called carbonic maceration, for another 72 hours, about 3 days-ish. And then they dry it for 45 to 50 days. So it's a really slow, shaded African beds drying process. And that produced a really clean and delicious cup of coffee at the end. How I roasted this coffee this time? Light, quite light. We have only a minute of development time. For espresso, a minute and 20 seconds. The recipe is quite simple. It's always the same, 12 grams for 200 milliliters of water at 92 degrees in 4 pours of 50 grams each. Now I'm going to give you a little suggestion. If you want to have slightly more intensity, you can add 13 grams. Why? This coffee, remember, is an African landrace, Ethiopian landrace variety, and is planted in a Central American soil. The elevation is about 1,400 meters above sea level, so we're not super high in elevation. As a result, this coffee has a really structured, round acidity. But if you want to up the acidity, if you lack brightness in your coffee, then I would suggest to put 13 grams of coffee, which is what I will be doing here. But 12 grams of coffee creates an excellent brew. Here, the reason why I picked this coffee is because I really wanted a clean, transparent winter coffee with sweet notes and a very comfortable sort of experience. Nothing super intense. You will find notes of honey, guava, guanabana, or sort of tropical fruits, but more like the stone tropical fruit, not much the very high, intense tropical fruit, and some delicious hazelnut in the finish. Let me get the water and then we'll start. As usual, I already preheated my V60. So we start with 50 grams of coffee, and I pour quite, in the laminar flow. Little option is to use a YDT tool. We use it mostly on espressos, but I noticed that it can increase the extraction for pour over, especially during the bloom. And I do that often with a ceramic V60 when it's kind of cold out there. So the ceramic gets kind of colder quicker. And we're gonna let it bloom for 40 seconds, sorry. Something I forgot to mention is the resting time. So second pour of 50 grams. And it's something we are going to put more into our suggestion in our brewing recommendation is how long should we let the coffee rest? For this one, about 10 days. I know it's kind of long, but when it's right off the roast, or even 2 days after the roast, when I cup the coffee, it was a little bit too fresh still. So I will let it rest for a little bit longer. Start drinking it from 7 days after the roast date, and it will really peak around 10 days. At 1 minute and 20, my third pour of 50 grams. My water, once again, is at 92 degrees. Clean, soft water that I've made with the Memli water kit. using 50 parts per million of alkalinity, 25 of calcium, and 50 of magnesium, 92 degrees. And my filter is an Abaca filter. At 1 minute and 45 seconds, I'm going to pour my last pour. Yeah, kind of. And grind size, I haven't mentioned the grind size. So the grind size here is relatively coarse. You'll see that you see why I say that, because it's typical of an African coffee, especially Ethiopian coffees. They tend to clog a little bit. So go for slightly coarser than usual. Here I go for 8.5 on my Didding. If you have a Comandante, that will be, because I have the red clicks, so I have to divide it by 2, but I will put it at a 26, 27. On the Baratza, I will start on 18, and you'll find a good result. I try to finish my brew within 3 minutes to 3 minutes 15. At 3 minutes 15, you're gonna have really nice sweetness. But if you want slightly more acidity and fruitiness, about 3 minutes is good. Don't go too fast on that one. You may have some grassy notes if it's like a very fast 2 minutes brew. So here we are, 2 minutes 50. We'll let it drain a little bit. And here the filter is really important, because some filters will really, really clog easily. And we are done we passed 3 minutes now, but that's all right. And I call it the end at 3:10. So quite good. So you'll see a really sort of light brown color. On the smell, you will smell more those honey maple syrup first, and then on the back some tropical fruit notes, much milder tropical fruit. It's not really intense in acidity. Really kind of nice, transparent, clean fruit. The nuttiness will come on the tasting experience. The intensity starts quite high, and then it finishes quite smooth on the aftertaste. It's a very nice sort of S shape along your tongue. It's a more light honey than a darker honey that is closer to maple syrup. And then you have a nice hazelnut, almost milk chocolate hazelnut aftertaste. Texture is quite syrupy. It's really present. You can feel the body. And here acidity is quite round and structured. It's really a more rounder shape. And the finish, clean, smooth, nutty. It's really what I'm looking for in those chocolatier, sweeter cup of coffee. Often I found a lot of bitterness in those type of coffees, but the way Diego Baraona and Los Pirineos has produced all the coffee they are proposing is really outstanding. You really have a great cup of coffee, even a great crowd pleaser that everyone can really enjoy this coffee. You will enjoy the complexity of this cup of coffee with notes of honey, guava, hazelnuts. A really smooth and clean tasting experience. So, to sum up, we have a new winter coffee from El Salvador, produced by the best producer in the country, Diego Baraona at Los Pirineos. To better enjoy this coffee, wait about 7 days after the roast date and make sure to share it with your friends, family, and loved ones. See you next time for another episode.